Today we are going over fear, losing, competing, afraid to try stuff, do different things, and kind of the importance of going through those things as being a warrior. At least in my opinion, that you have to handle those challenges. So I'll kind of kick it off. I guess we'll start kind of talking about maybe competition or in general. We'll maybe start there and kind of work around some bigger topics. I remember the first time I started competing when I was a wrestler in high school. I was fucking horrible. I mean, I was bad. I lost every single match, I think, my first year. And really fucked with my head a lot. But it was, now looking back, it was actually probably pretty good. You know, went through some experiences that helped mold me later. But yeah, we'll kind of start there. We'll go from there. Like, what do you got, Pete? Any,
Me? Well, I'm in a pretty good place now because I competed a bit, which I enjoy. But on the road of, you know, going where I'm going, you know, it was rough starting out because there's a lot of mind games. You know, you want to do well, you don't want to lose, etc., etc. But the thing is, you just got to put yourself out there and do things because the more you do it, the better you get. It's not all life or death.
Right.
But the thing is, you could learn more from losing than you can from winning.
Yeah, I think that's a big piece. At least for me, I'm kind of going back to that.
Yeah.
I think of like losing a lot in high school and keep going and keep competing and getting better. But I always kind of think back to those times of like just losing and learning a little bit of piece of the puzzle and getting more confident in your ability and not giving up. And that was a big thing. What are you, big guy? I know you did a lot of strongman competing.
Yeah, just, I mean, my first couple competitions, I was, you know, afraid, nervous, you know. I wouldn't really say afraid, but really nervous. I think for the first, I think I threw up for the first 3 or 4, maybe.
I'm a shitter when
and
I get
then
nervous. Yeah.
I've done that too, but it wasn't because I was nervous. It was because I had a lot of weight in my stomach. Kind of pushed it out. Anyways, you know, it was just nerves, and then you get into it, and then you know, you find out that, like, kind of like we talked about last episode. You know, everyone's very, especially strongman, everyone's very.
The community
is good. Yeah, thank you.
And then at the same time too, is like when you, I think your mind fucks with you more.
Oh yeah.
Than ever.
You get inside your own head more than anything else outside does. You know what I mean?
Like recent jiu-jitsu competition, or not recent, but 2 years back, like, you know, being nervous beforehand, but once you step on that mat, slap the hands, you're like,
yeah,
I'm in this shit, and then you're having a good time. Same with strongman. The first strongman event, I was fucking real nervous, but once that you were there, once that log lift happened, first lift successful, I'm like,
absolutely.
All right, I'm in this shit.
Yeah,
I'm having a good time.
Once when you're the work up to the actual like competition or whatever is usually what screws you up more than actually getting into it. You get in your head and start thinking about, oh, what if I don't do this? What if I miss? What if I blah 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 blah? And then you get into it. Your body, once your body starts moving and stuff, you're like, oh, okay, I can do this shit. You know.
I'm always worried of failing in front of others. Like if I like. Your wife, your father, your father-in-law, or your team, whatever it is, that you're going to be an embarrassment and let them down more than yourself.
Yeah.
What was Shawnee?
I've competed a long time. Judo competitions. I don't think I ever actually won one. Tied. You know, like tied. End up tying for first place or tying for second place. However you want to do that. Maybe lost a few. Nervous, yes, going into it, but once you know you lost or whatever, it's just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, the experience was good.
Yeah.
Losing on the mat on a daily basis, I learned a long time ago. That's not losing, it's learning.
Right.
So I think it was just that was just how I approached that. I was like, okay, what did I learn? I got this guy kicked my ass. What did I learn?
Yeah.
You know.
And now it's actually one of the things I was kind of bringing around is like, well, I admire students and I admire all our competitors who actually, you know, go out there and compete. And a lot of times people think that when they start doing BJJ or martial arts, something like that, it's necessary to compete or strong. And like, well, what do I do with it? And you know, I don't think that's a necessity. But what Sean said is important, that you've got to be able to challenge yourself on the mat. You know, in an hour we've got our Soul Fighters World's Team training. Yeah, we got like, you know, I think 25 black belts total, and so we'll have a huge training session in under an hour.
Yeah.
Which, you know, that's like, fuck. You know, if you go through that session, that's your competition. When you get to the mat, when you actually, you know, get to the competition, it's easy. But you know, that same thing, you get to be nervous and excited, but Yeah.
When we were talking about it last night, and you guys were like, "Are you going?" I'm like, and part of my brain was like, "Yeah, I'm excited. I want to go and do this." And then the other half's going, "But you're gonna get the shit beat out of you tomorrow." And then it's like, "Yeah, but I really want to go do it." But you're gonna get the shit beat out of you. And then it's like,
Your mind tries to be safe.
absolutely.
When you're talking about shit, and here it was midnight, and I'm like, freaking running to the bathroom because I'm thinking about what's happening in the next hour. Like, going, damn.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's right. When I was training intensely, like a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever it was, for the Worlds, we were doing a camp, and I wasn't rolling well, and I was kind of like breaking down. To myself, and I was like cursing at myself. It's just an ad. Rafael Formiga, the world Barbosa, the world masters champion, and his
three-time world master champion,
three-time in his division, all that kind of stuff, said to me, "Peter, this is normal. This happens to all of us. This is not important what's going on here. This is, when you go actually compete, it's all going to come together. It's totally normal what you're going through." So it's actually interesting to hear that from a superstar, experienced competitor.
Yeah.
That that process of is normal, and then all that training and all that frustration that I had, it paid off because I was rolling really well.
Yeah.
So.
That's cool. Yeah, so bringing it back around again, I said that it's not necessary to maybe compete, but it is, I think, very important to challenge yourself.
Yeah.
And finding ways to challenge yourself, whether it be through martial arts, strongman, or whatever you do, maybe it's a Spartan race, something that you actually work towards, whether it's just hitting a new lift, that could be something, or maybe achieving a belt. But actually something you strive for, that you put a lot of effort into, that challenges you, puts you to the next level.
Yeah, you're like competing against yourself all the time. You should be at least should always try to do something to make yourself better than you were the day before.
That's where self-discipline comes in, knowing you gotta do that.
Well, how do you take a guy who's never competed, never even walked in a martial arts school, maybe he has no aspirations of competing, but they're still going through that same challenge, right? I would think. They still have the fear, the anxiety. Oh my God, I want to do martial arts class. Almost like kind of what you went through. Like, well, I could be comfortable doing this. I want to go through this, or go through team training. And
just show up and do it.
Yeah.
You don't think.
Well, it's easy to say.
Because we do it.
Yeah.
We've gained that confidence.
But that's basically the answer.
Somebody, you can just walk up and do it. It's a little different for somebody who hasn't had.
Yeah, and I was trying to pick the brains a little bit, of guys who came in. I remember one guy recently came in, and he had a lot of anxiety. He's like, I get so nervous before class. I'm so nervous walking in here. I'm like, because I always ask why they're coming in, what they're looking for, but kind of want to dig deeper, like, how did you actually make that decision? Because I can't remember, if I remember walking in my first martial arts schools and being like, that guy could kick my ass, that guy could kick my ass, I'll probably kick that kid's ass, but that guy could kick my ass, and being just hyper nervous, like, I'm in a room full of killers, but, like you said, just do it, that's the step. But how do you, I don't know, what do you guys remember what it was like to take that first step into a new environment like that?
We were talking about this earlier. When I first started strongman, the first day of training the events was at Tom and April's in Southington, and when I walked up, Big Tom McClure, look him up.
I mean, this guy is seriously like
one of the largest human beings I've ever seen in person.
I mean, it's not like fat, like the Hulk, like a comic book.
It's like 6'3". I think he was like 360 at the time or something.
I mean, a monster.
He's just the first thing I see walking up to the house is him out in the driveway with an axle with 18-inch tires on. He's pressing over his head, and I'm like, what the fuck did I get myself into? Why am I doing this? But as I'm I'm walking up there, I'm like, well, I'm here. I'm gonna regret it if I go home. Let's just try it, see what happens. And I guess the rest is history, as they say. From there, it's just getting yourself to the point where you would feel worse about yourself not trying it.
That's a good point.
Actually,
the
guilt feeling.
Yeah, you almost kind of guilt yourself. Yeah, that's kind of.
I wonder
yourself into it a little
maybe
bit.
I can remember. Maybe we've all, when everybody walks in there, maybe they have a spark in their brain. Whatever. Like, I want to do martial arts, and maybe it keeps resonating there. And eventually, it's like you can't take that guilt or whatever of actually taking that step in there.
Yeah, it kind of just, like I said, you're there. It's like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna walk in the door and then leave? I mean, try it at least once
Well,
and see
fear,
how it
yeah.
feels. You know?
I think fear plays a big role in that too.
Absolutely.
That fear of failing, the fear of looking like. I think a lot of people, they come in here, they're like, oh, I have no experience, I don't know what I'm doing. Like,
That's fine.
no shit. You know, like I don't expect if I'm teaching martial arts experts every day, I don't think I have a business.
Nobody
You know?
started with experience.
Right.
Right.
So
Yeah,
you know,
gain
And a lot of
experience.
people don't realize that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they walk in, they'll see your dojo and they see people flying all over the place and getting
Oh, I
shot
can't do
down,
that.
and they're like,
Yeah.
oh,
These guys aren't. It's not their first day.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
they've been
Right.
there for a while.
Yeah.
You know.
so that's conquering and facing that fear is something that I think is actually probably the root of it. You know, and now I'll kind of bring out a story myself. I actually tattooed on my inner chest right here. So conquer your inner demons or conquer your inner fears. Basically, it was when I'll tell you, when I first decided to fight MMA, I probably made a decision 2 years ago. But I was fat, overweight. I didn't feel I was ready. Mentally definitely wasn't ready. The following I made a decision, I was like 268 pounds, but not jacked and tan, kind of pudging white. Well, I never been tan. Anyway.
Pudging pale.
Pudging pale. And I tapped it. Once I kind of say, I signed up the fight, made a decision, and I tacked it down. I'm like, I'm going to conquer it. I'm going to do it. And went through a whole ton of, dropped to 163, 193 pounds, and ended up losing the fight. But it was one of my biggest experience of conquering fear that I went through. But I think back to that was a big thing for me. Is like having that ability to face the fear and say kind of no, fuck you. And I think from that, like things start changing a little bit. You start actually. When you look on the mat and there's somebody tough, when you're looking at around the road or lift or Tom McClure, I'm like, yeah, he's maybe stronger than me right now, but I could do that too. And there's nothing wrong with being fearful of it, but like taking that step past what it is.
It's those baby steps that kind of like then down the road gives you that confidence. It's like doing, like you said, walking into the dojo, and then the next step, right now I'm testing for my belt. Now I'm doing this and this, and I'm fighting this guy, I'm fighting this guy, I'm fighting this guy. And then
it just becomes a habit.
Yeah.
It's like now they're like it's almost like now it's a challenge. It's not a fear anymore. It's a challenge. Like I want to face that challenge and go.
All this really comes down to is it's mental shit in the end, because martial arts is more is more of you dealing with yourself, learning stuff. To me it's more of a spiritual thing, even though it's physical. It's all interconnected.
Yeah.
And when I say challenge yourself, deal with yourself, I'm talking about your mind, your ego. So what we're talking about is ego and mind, right now, what you guys are talking about. But I competed last year in New York Pro, and I'm Masters 5. I had to fight Masters 3 because my age division didn't exist. So I had to fight these guys who are 10 years younger than me.
Oh.
And you know
So
what?
what are they, 50?
No, they're 42. I'm 52. So I had no pressure because I was expected to lose. Do you know how great that was?
Yeah.
No one expected shit from me. So I was really nice, no apprehension, just relaxed. It was like at a party. And because of that, I rolled really well. And wouldn't it be awesome to have that type of freedom every time you compete? Instead
no expectations.
Instead of, all this energy going into this bullshit before?
That's like you're like fighters, something like, I like being underdog. I wonder if that's probably the same thing.
Yeah.
Probably the same type of thing.
They're not expected to win.
You're not expected
so
to
it's
win.
What the fuck? Just go in there and do it.
just go all in.
What do I got to lose? Nothing.
Exactly.
That's what's nice about being a white belt now in BJJ.
That's fucking true, man.
Because I'm out, I get beat, I'm just like, hey, that's okay.
As soon as I
It's like,
start,
it's all right.
Same here, yeah.
Hey, that's cool, man.
it's funny
all
to say,
good.
'cause that's been on my mind every now and then. Is like two things kind of happened when I got my black belt BJJ. One was that people started watching me more, which I stopped. It was starting to stop. I'm like, fucking stop watching me. Leave me alone. And then two, it's like, well, now if you get tapped out or choked out, which whatever it is, I don't give a fuck. But that now it's like, oh wait, should I have done that? Should I have tapped that guy because I'm now a black belt that I have to somehow be
Ego.
expected?
Ego.
And so for me, it's like, I personally, I work really hard. I mean, I don't give a fuck. I am training, and I keep that mentality, which helps me because I have so much more fun doing jiu-jitsu. When I would be distressed during jiu-jitsu is when I was kind of going to compete, or people, being a school owner, a jiu-jitsu school owner, and you automatically always have to be in that, you have to be that guy. Thank God for Oz, because I can fucking send him after people. But it's weird because you have to have that level of expectation. But it used to stress me out in the beginning, where I would like actually not like to get on the mat sometimes. Now it's like, it's weird. It's like people watch you because they're always kind of watching, but now you kind of have that expectation of being a black belt. I'm working on myself to lower that and be like, I'm just having fun. This is what I love to do. Who gives a fuck? It's training on the mat. I should be challenged. If I'm not challenged, I'm in the wrong place. You know.
Yeah. Well, I totally relate to that, and for me personally, not that I'm a black belt, I'm a purple belt, but you know, if you're rolling, and let's say you're rolling well, quote unquote, people say, man, you're rolling so well, and you know, you're doing well for like 2 weeks. All of a sudden you start coming to practice, starts thinking, man, I gotta roll well today. I gotta roll well because
that's what's expected.
It's expected of me. And then when you start thinking that, you start feeling stressed, you start getting anxious, and then your game starts to suffer. I mean, it happened to me. So I try my best, and sometimes it works really well, sometimes it doesn't. But just to check, you know, like everyone says it, not just us, we're not new at this. Leave your ego at the door.
Yeah.
But you know, when I say, you know, like you said, I'm just gonna roll and have fun, then I, quote unquote, roll well.
Yeah.
But if I, you know, have that level of expectation.
Well, you say check your ego at the door, and it's one of those things. Check your ego at the door. I'm like, well, how the fuck do you do that? You know, I've got this thing. You know, like, oh, I'm gonna walk through the door and put it away.
Clock.
And I don't think it's as simple as that. I think it actually is a mind shift that needs to happen.
Absolutely.
That you need to literally like force yourself, like a constant reminder. This is fun. This is what I want to do. This is training. I don't give a fuck. And you have to kind of say to yourself, like, you know, who cares?
Yeah.
Only you.
Yeah.
You know, really. I mean, if you're rolling the people on the mat, they don't give a fuck. You're just there training.
Yeah.
You know, so what they swept you that day or they submitted you. It's just another day. Next week you're gonna do it to them.
Yeah.
What's the big fucking deal?
Right.
You know, so like, sorry, go ahead.
It's not life or death.
Yeah.
If you're not enjoying it, why the fuck are you doing it?
Right.
Like, seriously.
It shouldn't stress you out.
It should be. It should be an enjoyable
It should
part
be
of your
fun.
day. Yeah, it should be fun. Should be, you know, something you look forward to, not something that you're like, oh my god, what am I going to do today?
But you know, it
shouldn't have stress over
it.
It
happens to all of us. You go through phases, and any
well, you
type
always
of
have good days
endeavor.
and bad days too, and sometimes the bad days are
The best
the
days.
ones the ones that really build you. You know what I mean? Like,
We have to be able to accept those wins or losses, your good days or your bad days, and you get, you know, you can walk out and you go, man, I had a bad day. Okay, but you know,
Yeah.
tomorrow's another day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. You know,
And, you know,
it
and
could be
review your
because you're
mistakes.
retired. It could be
Yeah.
because you're thinking about other shit. You're not totally focused on, or whatever. You got stuff that's bothering you. But tomorrow's another day, and you come back and you do it again.
Personally, I try to, like, if I like had a off rolling day or someone did something and it, like, you know, got me or whatever, I try to review back, like, why did that happen? Instead of just being like, oh, I fucking suck, you know, and all right, tomorrow I'll beat them, you know. No, it's like, why did it happen? What did I do wrong? And, you know, what can I do to fix it? And if it's something that I know instantly what I did wrong, all right, I rushed that and which caused me to get caught. Or if it's a technical question, like, that's why we have Q&A with Formiga. Formiga, this happened, fix it. What can I do to make it better?
And that's the benefit of YouTube.
Yeah.
Because that's what I've been doing. We were talking about this morning on the ride here. I said, you know, I get beat, I get tapped out. The same thing, I'm going home and I'm going through like, all right, now what? You know, this guy got me here and I was rolling this way. What happened? Oh, and he did this, you know, and I'm going, okay, well, how do I get out of that?
Yeah.
YouTube, how to get out of half guard, how to get out of this, and you start looking at them all, and put them together, and you go, all right, now I got a couple pieces of the puzzle, I got something
And I
to
can
work with.
try on.
You know, and you can try it. And
Now,
then
when you're
you can-
speaking of YouTube, you only mean youtube.com/Soulfighters Academy,
Soul Fighters
correct?
Academy,
Yeah.
because
There
that's the
is
only
no other-
place for legitimate escapes, reversals,
Yeah,
submissions.
there is, shameless plug.
And self-defense,
Self-defense, yeah, there's
personal
a,
protection.
strength training.
we've got
training.
over, I think, 200 videos now on climbing. Please subscribe. Thank you. Continue, Sean.
The cameraman.
So that has gone to soulfightersacademy.com and looking up those things has
Yeah.
really been a huge benefit.
There we go. That sounds better.
It's been saving my ass a lot.
Very
And I
high
think-
quality videos, right?
And it's improved. But years ago,
Yeah.
that wasn't there, and it was just trial and error. It's like, okay, I'm back in this position. What do I do? What do I do? 3, 4, 5 times, and it took longer to learn, but this is much easier.
I actually personally laugh when you could tell like some new students, new white belts come in, and also they're trying some weird shit in mat. I'm like, where? I don't even want to ask you. You saw that on YouTube, right? Look, yeah, I was looking like,
You're getting a little heavy.
just, you know,
Yeah.
calm it down there, big
Same
guy.
thing with the strength training too. People try some weird shit on there.
I had a guy with an old school. First of all, he actually just never rolled. Was like, you know, it was trying rubber guard the first day. I'm like, well, you know, I saw it on YouTube. Like, you've never done jiu-jitsu before. It's like, yeah, I saw it on YouTube. I thought that was what you had to do it. I'm like, just stop. This is closed guard. You know, he's just pulling on his leg and trying to get it. Like, what are you doing? No, wrong. So Any closing thoughts there on fear losing? Me personally, just do it. No, I'm seriously. It is. I think I'm gonna go to saying what can really help people. What I think can help anybody when they're facing challenges or they want to do something that scares them, challenges them, whether it be competing, whether it be walking to martial arts school, whether it be joining a new group of people. It doesn't matter what it is. That you've got to start having that conversation with yourself. At least for me. To kind of like say, I can't, kind of not self-affirmation, but like a little bit of belief, like and look forward to that challenge. Embrace that challenge and kind of make those small little steps. Maybe it's the first thing of like I want to do martial arts. I saw a UFC fight. Maybe it's Googling schools in your area and seeing finding a kind of place it is. Maybe it's visiting them, talking to the guy on the phone. But take that first step. Maybe there's a competition that you're thinking of doing. Talk to your coaches and see what they would recommend. You could have a team. What's great about Soul Fighters is that we have a team and we have a family, and that you could rely on other competitors and other people or talk to us personally. I think we're all very accessible. So when people do ask about training here, I have a great conversation with them to kind of help them get their journey started. But I think people just need to kind of take that step, find a way to believe in yourself. And it's never as bad as I think people it's going to be in their mind. Your mind makes it so much worse. Yeah. But when you go through the experience, you go through the challenge, that it's actually something pretty incredible that is life-changing on some level. Every day you may change your life a little bit. Then when those are big bumps that you kind of get to level up a little bit in your life. So, any thoughts?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like you saying, you should try things because when things are in the future, you think about it a lot, but when they happen, you think about it less when you're on the mat, and then when it's over, it's in the past tense, and you look back and say, wow, that was awesome. I really actually enjoyed it. Yeah. So just remember, everything's in a state of flux. If you have a lot of anxiety about shit, it's only because it's in the future. I mean, just do it. And
you'll probably regret it more by not doing it.
By not doing it. You have great memories, and you say it's not so bad. And then the other thing I want to say real quick is, in terms of competing, I learned pretty quickly that all the other guys are thinking the same shit I'm thinking. And once I learned that, I was happy because
you could tell. I look for now. Yeah.
I'm like saying they're nervous, they're edgy, they're scared. I'm smiling at them, waving, "How you doing?" And they're like looking at me.
They always come up and introduce themselves to me. I'm like, "You're just trying to feel better." Like, all right, come on, buddy.
So you're not alone. That's all.
Yeah.
Everyone goes through this shit.
Yeah. It's nothing is ever as bad as your mind thinks it's going to be. You just got to do it. Like we said, we kind of said that last episode too. If there's something you want to do,
just theme of today's warriors.
Take a couple.
Don't be a bitch.
Take some small steps towards it, and just do it. You're probably gonna suck at it the first time, but who cares?
Who cares?
It's not it's not a life and death situation. If it's something you want to try, just fucking do it. Like for competing too, for like strongman, I would suggest once you start training, just pick a show, send them entry form in, send your money in. That way you can't back out of it.
I love that philosophy.
Like when I was training at Tom and April's, I trained there for 4 or 5 months, and Tom told me, he said, if you don't do a show in the next couple of months, you're not allowed to train here anymore. So I was like, well, I guess I gotta compete now. So you just kind of gotta force yourself to do it.
Yeah.
Take that step and do it. Don't worry about the outcome. Just worry about
the outcome will be
having fun and improving yourself along the way.
Nothing bad ever came from pushing yourself.
Absolutely.
I do love it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Shawnee, anything close?
I think no matter how good you think you are, there's always somebody better than you. Mm-hmm. And when you realize that, that doesn't mean that you quit, but you still have to. But there's always room for you to improve.
Yeah.
And when you go out and you're rolling around with these guys, I'm the smallest one here out of these guys, but I still learn so much from this. I outrank Peter in one style of jiu-jitsu. He outranks me now in BJJ and he crushes me every time. All those years, 30 years of throwing and stuff means nothing as soon as he gets on top of me. That's just the way it is.
The Kabasi.
So the Kabasi man gets on top of me. That didn't sound good.
That's right what he likes it.
Cut that part out.
Might be good for some people.
No, we said that it was like you don't always have to be the best. What'd you say? I'm sorry. How did you forget now?
No matter how good you think you are,
there's somebody better, right?
There's always somebody better.
And stronger.
Yeah, and they have
tougher,
that,
right?
and they have people get fearful that like, I've got to be the best. Like, no, you got to be the best yourself.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be world champion? Probably not. It's a fucking rarity. You know what I mean? But there's nothing wrong with just going through those experiences. That it makes you better. Who's more important than you? You know, and it makes you better. Don't care about anybody else.
Champions weren't always champions. They had to lose at some point.
Yep,
and they persevered and they kept on going, and that's what made them champion.
Yep. All right.
All right, guys. Thank you again for tuning into today's Warrior. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, podcast, etc., etc., etc. And also find us at soulfightersacademy.com for martial arts training, self-defense, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and these idiots. All right.
Hey, oh, hey.
Take care, guys.
See ya.
Top.
Yay!